Hey, all right, check it out. Here we go. This is Dealin Hope number 9. How awesome is that? We are almost 10 weeks, or at least 10 episodes, if you will, of Dealin Hope, and it's been an amazing time. We're so thankful, so appreciative of all of you who are following us every Monday night. And we enjoy the opportunity where one week is just me sharing, and the next week we try to have a leader from around the country join in with this and share the passion and share what it is they're carrying in their heart. And man, it's an awesome deal that tonight we are so thrilled to have my wife, Angela, in here with us. This is her week, and we actually get to sit in the same room together instead of being in a split screen. So we're on side to side of the screen, I guess, but it's all in one. So look at all these hearts and thumbs, everyone that's fired up to see Angela in here with us. Some of you that have just more recently connected with us, following us, may have not yet heard from Angela, and so we're extremely excited for you to get that opportunity. Those of you that know Ange and hear from her and receive from her regularly, you already know how powerful it's going to be. And tonight we are thrilled. And so, hey guys, so many of you are already popping in, saying hi. Thank you for that. If you get a chance to hit share and get this out on your wall, that would be fantastic. You're right, Deborah. Angela does rock. And so we'd love to have you share this with your friends. Hey, Curtis. So they're getting this live in the moment as well. That would be fantastic. We love to have, actually, one second. Ange, would you get the plug-in cord in and plug in? I forgot to plug in, and battery is already running low. So we'll get that plugged in here, but we would love to have as many as possible jumping in here while live, and checking that out would be fantastic. There, we got the charger plugged in. We are ready to roll. Hi, Diana. Good to see you. Thanks for jumping in here. Tonight is going to be an awesome time as Angela is going to communicate and share her story and what has went on and what has really dramatically changed in us walking out the present reality of hope. And there's no way to not get a plug in here right out the beginning. Our book, Hope Equals Bold, this really isn't just something that I came up with that I thought would be nice to write about. It was actually an assignment that God gave and released in my life as He spoke very clearly to me about 4 years ago and said, go carry the torch of hope in the earth. And I was actually quite reluctant at first. My first response actually was, don't make me do that. I said, I'm not that guy. I'm not just a cheerleader, if you will. I'm not a Hallmark card, I think may have been my exact response to him. I said, don't make me do that. And his response back to me was, because you don't know what hope is. Well, he got my attention. And so as he began to unpack that and reveal that to me, we began to live that out as the revelation would come, mindsets would change, and things would begin to shift in such a way that we were then able to put it in this, Hope Equals Bold. You can get it on Amazon or at our website. We are thehopeful.com. And if you, thanks Janine for sharing, appreciate it. Hey Michelle, if you haven't got a copy, I know many of you already have this copy of this and are being so impacted. I just shipped a bulk order of these books to an addiction ministry in Kentucky, which is an amazing, you're right, Curtis, heavy metal Hallmark card. That fits, right? Anybody that knows my history, Hallmark cards is a funny concept, but nonetheless, if you haven't got Hope Equals Bold, if you do Amazon Prime, you can have it in 2 days. Go to our website, Hope Equals Bold. No, I'm sorry, that's my book. Our website is wearethehopeful.com, and you can get that there. It would be awesome. Buy it for all your friends, your family members. I am sending more bulk orders of the book than I am individual orders. So keep getting it out there. Go through it. It's a powerful deal. So Angela tonight is going to just let us know what it's been like for her on this journey we've been on, but in particular what has went on in her, what mindsets have changed, what has really unpacked for her, and what that has brought forth in her life and our life, and what we know can can materialize and come forth in your life, because we believe every heart can live fully alive, and that hope is the best atmosphere for that to happen. So we've become a culture of hope for you so that you can elevate in your capacity to thrive, because that's what we have really experienced and what we know you can experience as well. So Angela, we're not split screen tonight in different rooms. We're in the same room. Thank God. How awesome is that? But talk to us. Tell us what has went on and what has really changed your story, changed our story.
First of all, I have to say, Bill, I saw your comment about the curtain looking like we were trying to make it a split screen, and that's really funny.
See if I can get it in the middle.
That wasn't intentional. It's just a setup. It's
just a setup.
So to be able to share with you guys, I keep finding myself going back to thinking about when we're children. For most of us, childhood maybe wasn't perfect, but most of us at that point in life have a lot of dreams. We just see the whole world in front of us as just this amazing, what am I going to be when I grow up? What am I going to do? And I can remember so many things at that point in life that just all of those dreams that we have inside, and things that we think that we might do, or places we might go, or people we might be with, or thousands of babies we might have. I don't know what all these different dreams that we have. And then you kind of get to that place in life where some reality, the rubber meets the road kind of things, where you all of a sudden realize that, for instance, I couldn't wait to get my driver's license, and I think it was the very first time I'm going out by myself. I am on my way to science fair. My project was on stress and what it can do to us. I dropped my Bible. It slid under the gas pedal while I was driving, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't adjust anything. So I bend down to pick it up, and while I'm doing that, I'm in a turn and crash into the guardrail, which of course I'm reaching, so I'm in an awkward position, crash into the guardrail. Mind you, my dad had just fixed up this car for me to drive. I'm so scared and not sure what to do. I have just crashed the car. I pull into the first house right after that guardrail. Luckily, I was only 2 miles from home, and I called my mom to come and get me. I was extremely shaken up. She still had to take me, and I still had to do the presentation on stress at the science fair. But there are those moments where that is not how I pictured that going. That is not how I wanted that journey to happen, but it's what happened. And that those moments where we have those things that happen that we didn't plan on having it happen, right, Bill? We have that moment. Do we go home? Do we tuck tail? Do we stay behind? Or do we go ahead and go forward, go do the presentation, share what the life example was that you just had presented to you? What a perfect opportunity, right? So I'm thinking through all of that today, and just thinking about how many different things that the hurdles or the bumps that we're going over as we go forward in life, and how many things were inside of you in childhood that we went ahead and said, you know what, that's actually too hard. I can't have that kind of a relationship. There aren't people out there like that would want to connect with me. There aren't really job opportunities like that for me. There's not really a way for me to ever be able to accomplish that. I'll never be able to have a family that looks like that. There are all of these things that we once knew what it looked like, but we all of a sudden find ourselves in a place of disappointments or hurts or setbacks, causing us to now think that those are unobtainable or inaccessible. And so I would say that there was a fair portion of our life where for us it was like you almost had enough things go differently than you had expected, and they start looking the same, and just as it gets good it falls apart, just as it gets good it falls apart, to where you start now thinking, why bother trying to get to the good if it's going to fall apart? And so even finding ourselves in that cycle of things that we almost didn't want to, you just really weren't sure if you could go forward thinking that something good was coming next. And so in that journey, it's amazing how Father uses everything and how he starts to take those moments when we are not sure that there's more. Now, don't get me wrong. On the inside, I think all of us always know there's more. I think we always say inside of us, there has to be more than this right here. There has to be an answer for this. There has to be a solution for this. There has to be help for my friend in this. There has to be, when I'm seeing other families struggle with something, I'm like, God, there has to be something that can make that go away for them. There's something that could help them in this moment. It's a lot easier for me to believe that there's something that can help you than there is for myself. But God has taught me so much through this whole journey that I'm totally allowed to believe it for myself, but I'm absolutely allowed to believe it for you. Sometimes I think we need that cheerleader that helps us to remember. But one thing I have found is that hope becomes... First of all, you have to tell them what hope really is, right?
Well, they got to get the book. We're not going to do that tonight. You have to have the book. Just kidding.
When you have an
it.
Unconditional assurance that Father's goodness is going to prevail, that it is always, always, always there. Now, mind you, my upbringing was not that we were always looking for a brighter day, a better future, a better thing. That's not the design. That wasn't the structure that I was brought up in. It was more about we were racing time to make sure that when the moment happened, that we were able to make sure we knew where we were going. And so to be at a spot where I don't feel like I'm racing time, I feel like it is a gift. It is a present.
Right.
And it's what I'm doing with that present. What am I listening to in that moment? And so finding hope to be like this song that you can't get away from. It's the what ifs. It's the there must be more. There has to be something else. There has to be an answer. There has to be a solution. Those are inside of us because that's part of his song. That's part of his goodness that is continually playing within and calling us to something else. Now, there can be deterrents. There can be circumstances that come into our life that try to drown out the sound of the song, but it is always there. And if we are helping people to fine-tune and to just awaken within them the ability to just hear that, whether it be really small or shouting and declaring really loud in that moment, when we realize that there's a song that's always calling us to come up and to come into, it's pretty neat, I think, how music, have you ever been in a concert where the sound system is really great, or maybe you are in a car
good to see you.
With a really excellent sound system? I don't know about you, but I'm typically not a turn the music up really loud person.
I am.
He is. It's a true story. But you give me a song I love and a really great sound system, and you go right on ahead and turn it up.
Turn it
as
up.
loud as you can possibly stand it. Because there's just something about being enveloped in a sound that can change your whole entire outlook and your spirit at the moment. It can just change everything for you in those moments. And I believe that hope can become like that for us on a daily basis, where we are able to say, okay, Father, today, turn it up. Because there are moments where we need to feel his frequency so heavily within us. And I love that he can do that at any moment. I love that in the moment where I needed it most, it was like the frequency turned up so that it's almost like, maybe this isn't, it's not a sound story, but one where, what if you're out in the middle of the night?
Hey Key, good to see you.
And you need to see what's going on. It's almost like he can even give you those night detecting, the goggles.
Hey Marjorie, good to see you.
You are able to now see things that you couldn't see before. You're in the same environment, but he's allowed you to see things that you couldn't see there before. And I feel like that's how he kind of works this whole thing. When we decide that things really are getting better, that things are really good, that there is really goodness for us, coming to us, we all of a sudden have eyes that see. Mm-hmm. See things that have always been there, but we couldn't see them before.
You know, one of the things you would make me think of with that, I remember kind of in this journey for us really getting a hold of Romans chapter 8, where we're told that he turns all things to good for those who are called according to his purpose, that he turns all things to good. It really took a while for us to work through that. At least for me, I had to really sort through what that meant, to be turned to good. What was going to be turned to good? I mean, I started thinking about if all things are moving towards that, I need to find out what that is, because we were certainly going through scenarios where we had to consider what's going to be good of this. How is that going to be good? You know, and so it's so easy for us to consider the ideas of good, meaning more money or better houses or better health or something easier, something more comfortable, something that takes less work, something that's not as tense or stressful. And certainly all those things are good, but I don't know that all those things are the good that he's turning everything towards. And so as we really begin to take serious the reality of knowing and understanding Father, we really got our minds adjusted to the understanding that there is no greater good, there's no greater measure of good than seeing and knowing Father. Take everything, experience everything, endure everything, go through everything, whatever the case may be. But if that's going to allow me to see and know and understand Father more than I do right now, we begin to say, and you should begin to say, bring it on. If it's a tough time, if it's an easy time, if it's a stressful time, if it's a joyful time, if there's a lot of money, if there's barely any money, if everything seems to be flowing right, if everything seems to be flowing crazy, if all of those things, bring all of them, if that's what will allow me to see and know Father. So life quit becoming a game of trying to get more comfortable or getting things to be easier or to just simply be getting more money or a better situation. It became, how do we see Father in all of this? In other words, we're not looking for the ashes to go away so then we see beauty. We're beginning to see beauty even while we're in the midst of ashes. In other words, ashes become beautiful when they are the things that's showing you beauty. So it's not that you want to stay in a broke position or an unhealthy position or an uncomfortable or a stressful or a bad or an ugly situation. But what you want to be able to do is be able to see the beauty in the midst of it, which is how you're seeing Father more clearly, because he is full beauty. And when you do that, it begins to dial your heart, as Angela was saying, into these waves, this song, this frequency, this rhythm of his heart that's pulsating towards you like cascading waves of glory and goodness. And when you dial into that, it begins to become a frequency that's not only moving in you, it becomes what's moving through you, and it begins to reorder the situations of life. I mean, that's what we began to experience when that verse became a significant reality to us, and we begin to say, we're not just living to see better circumstances. We're not expecting all circumstances to become, quote, good, but we're expecting all circumstances to reveal to us the goodness of Father. And so we had quite a few things that really helped us go through that, but I think that's what really began to kind of redirect our course and to let us know that that's how we've come to define hope as the unconditional assurance Father's goodness prevails, is because it doesn't matter what circumstance you're in. If you see Father, you're all right. You're going to make it. You are actually prevailing in that moment when his goodness becomes the song that you hear, begins to be the vision that you see, begins to be the envelopment that you feel. You've already won, because there is nothing of more value than seeing and knowing him. There is nothing more important, there's nothing more valuable, and there's nothing more good than that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So continue on. Sorry, I had to jump in there. and talk about it. He's talking about all these sound waves and talking about all these
Sorry, I
things
don't know where
turning in there. You got all wrapped up in what we're sharing. But you done? Or what?
I'm not done.
I didn't figure
I'm trying
so.
to remember where I was.
Right, sorry.
Sorry, I got lost in what you were talking about because I can remember there being a season, and it would be in the darkest circumstances. I can remember it being a time where I felt really impressed to start really digging into what it would be to see and to know His glory. Do you remember when I was everything had to be, what does that mean? What does that look like? What is His glory? Why do we want it? Why is it here? What is it if it's here? Why? And I can just remember there being this whole season where that's
Thanks,
all I
Marjorie.
wanted to
Awesome.
know about. And to be able to out of that season be able to I think it felt more like we crawl out of some things rather than soar out of them. Like we would like to just fly out of there and like have this huge victorious moment. But a lot of times it's not necessarily flying out. It is a crawling process. And you start crawling and then you're able to get to your knees and you're able to get up on your feet and then you're able to start running. But you know what? You start realizing that in the moments where you're crawling, how beautiful it can be at that place. And then when you're able to get to your knees, there's a different beauty in that place. And sometimes I think we get really wrapped up in trying to be the one soaring, and forgetting to really pay attention to those moments where we're able to crawl again. I don't know why that's where I went with that. But there's also something really amazing about being able to crawl through those darker moments in life and continue moving forward, and in that walking pace seeing open doors. And where before an open door may have been super scary or something that you weren't sure you wanted to actually go through it because what is on the other side of that door, there's part of us that can immediately think, what if it's amazing? What if it's everything I've ever dreamt? What if there is this incredible journey on the other side of that? But I don't know about you, but there's the circumstances of life that sometimes have tainted us. And we start to look at those doors and say, oh, on the other side of that door of opportunity could be heartbreak, or it could be painful, or it could be all of these things that we've experienced in those past seasons. And so we're not really sure that that's something that we want to go through. But it's incredible when you look back over your life and you realize that even in the moments where you went through the door, it was painful. You learned about the immense amount of healing that He brings. You've learned how He walks with you in every step. You've learned about how faithful and true He is. You've learned about a love that you'll never be able to fully grasp or understand. Because in all of those moments, it might even be moments when everyone else had left you, He had not. And in those times when we are able to see the realities of who He is, and He is revealed to us in greater and greater measure, when we are able to really get all of these crazy distractions out of the way and see more of Him, it all of a sudden makes those open doors really amazing, because it becomes one of those things where every open door now becomes, Father, what do you
Brad,
have?
good to see you, man.
Father, what's going to be on the other side of this door? I know you have good things. I know that in this moment, I'm going to learn more about you, whatever the circumstances are. And to be able to be in a place where there is a freedom for that to be what moves us, when we no longer are afraid of the carpet being pulled out from under us, because you know what? We survived every time. We have made it through all of those difficult moments. I didn't say they were easy. I didn't say they were comfortable.
Thanks,
I
Brad.
said we made it. And you know what? We gained a little bit more in the muscles that required us to get to that walking or that running or that climbing and eventually to that soaring position. And so I find that when there is the realization of what hope is, of the goodness coming towards us, of the never-ending portion that Father has of goodness dumping out towards us, it makes it really easy to walk confidently into the next thing. And I love that Father is a yes kind of guy. He loves to say, yes, go for it. Yes, try that out. Yes, pursue that opportunity. Yes, pursue this moment where you're going to learn more about who I am. So beautiful things that He has set up for us.
You know, I was, another plug for some of you that may be jumping in late, our book Hope Equals Bold, which is somewhat what we're talking through tonight on how we got, you boys, sorry about that. I think we had a little interruption in our service, our signal for some reason, but in our book Hope Equals Bold, which is what we've been living through, we wrote it because of what we've gained in our journey. One of the pull-out quotes in one of the chapters says that hope is always calling us up. Hope is a force. It's not just a wish. It's not just a want. It's when we talk about a wish and a want, and we use the word hope in that context, we're actually telling our mind that we don't have it. And the reality is that we're told in 2 Corinthians 3:12 that we have this hope. And so hope is actually the eternal. Jesus said, Paul said. Anyway, sorry about that. We might be struggling too much with our signal, but trying to help us understand that hope is what's always calling us forward. It's actually a force that is moving us. It empowers us to go bold enough to change our story. Because we begin to step into this, because mindsets begin to change, we have a lot of things in our story that is advancing and changing and accelerating in all kinds of ways, because there is a different frequency that we are dialed into, that we're moving in and moving with, and that is causing things to materialize and manifest in different ways than it ever has before. And so anyways, we might go ahead and wrap it up tonight in that. Thanks for anybody that's still hanging in here. Appreciate those. You get thumbs up on that. But tonight it was awesome to have you. Thanks for the shares and the hearts and the thumbs. Grab Hope Equals Bold. If you haven't yet, get it to all your friends and family. Angela, what do you have maybe to finish before this cuts us off again?
I would just like to conclude by saying that there are dreams within you. Our Father is a dreamer, and He has placed those dreams inside of you. And my prayer for you is that the hope, that resounding frequency, that all-consuming sound that you really can't get away from, that it would just begin to call you into more and more and more, that you would dream bigger and bigger, that you would know that there are so many more things still available to you and for you. Don't let this be what stops you.
His goodness is flowing towards you. Check out Revelation chapter 22. It's a present reality. It's what's going on right now. A river that's flowing from His heart. Anyhow, it's coming towards you. It's always, someone's already messaging tech devils, right?